Hey there. Another new episode. I'm still fighting with this whole. As soon as I start push the button to record, it's like all my energy just leaves like a vast sea. I don't know. Maybe it's probably because I'm concerned with the process of recording as opposed to the subject matter. It would help a lot if I had somebody else to talk to, which kind of keeps the live spark going. And the cool thing is, I've realized that anybody I can talk to over Google Chat, Google Audio Chat, is effectively can be a guest. So I'll have to attempt to wrangle in some people, and they will resist, of course. But that'll almost be kind of fun, because people give the most amazing excuses when they don't want to do something, but they have no real reason for not wanting to do it. There we go. A little bit of energy. So I'm not going to worry about the time, in which case this might be longer than usual, which is fine. I can just split it up. And I decided I have to basically excite myself to get excited about, what I'm talking about. Otherwise, this just becomes really low key. And I don't really know if this will entertain the one person who's currently watching this, my friend Andrew. Who knows? Maybe someone else will watch it in the future. It doesn't really matter. The weird thing about all this is I'm not nervous about this at all. I mean, it's pointless. It's even though theoretically anyone could watch this, it's just like anything else in the universe. It really, according to my knowledge, you can theoretically view any point in past time. You know how to do it anyway, but who would want to? Essentially, the universe is a sea of information, largely useless. So you don't really have to worry about who would possibly view it. But at the same time, you do, because it depends on your entire situation. Anyway, but I'm not concerned about that. But at the same time, energy just seems to leave. I don't know. I think I just need to get in the right headspace. I can kind of feel it almost. Actually, it's. I find you can feel that sort of thing. You can feel when there's ambient energy, and you can feel when it kind of dissipates. But whatever, I'm trying to embrace the do-it principle, which I was actually kind of thinking that today, that this kind of makes sense in that I'm starting to do things as opposed to think about them, etc., etc. So I'm sort of flipping to the other side of the pendulum where normally when I think, I sort of feel a lot of energy, but of course, well, that makes sense. I feel a lot of energy because I'm not using it, I guess. But when I try to actually do something, of course, it feels like all the energy is draining away, but it's probably actually just going into actually doing the thing. I'm just, I watch my own sensations far more than a normal person, I think. Anyway, it's interesting. Your body and your mind and everything actually record everything, which is interesting. Weird looking red spots on there. Anyway, so an interesting topic, though I'm mostly just going to review it, but actually my thought was I'm going to try to be more, instead of just, again, I'm trying to not be restrained, so I'm going to actually kind of let myself basically, think on camera, which might lead to some weirdness, but again, this is easy when I'm not attempting to record something. Because I find usually when I write stuff down, actually, I usually have an inspiration. I have a thought about something. I have a new idea about something, and I'm very good at that. Actually, I can write it down. I started keeping a journal like a few years back, and initially, of course, I thought it was totally lame and everything, and I had to really fight to make myself do it. But now I actually really like it, though. Partially, it's been my habit on it's been destroyed because my last Mac completely, screwed off and finally lost all my data. I mean, I did back it up, but you know how it is. I had the keyboard set up a certain way so I could push a button, and actually, I don't have the extra function keys on this tiny little keyboard, which is kind of terrible. But anyway, my routine was broken, and that messed up that. But I did enjoy it. And it actually does help focus your thoughts and stuff, like even if you're not really aware, because you're spending the effort. Essentially, you're doing something. Anyway, my point being, I guess that upgraded my skill at writing stuff down. Getting stuff into words, and that was quite useful. And I can go into that state easily now. I have like I have an understanding about awareness. Type, start doing it. But this is a new medium. Not used to doing it on the fly. Uh, Anyway, but mostly again, I'm just doing this for the sake of doing it. I'm assuming I'll get used to it. Um, so paranormal wise, the thing is, the paranormal is like a web, as my fellow researcher and friend Chris was saying last Sunday. Every Sunday we have we try to get together, and Chris and I, and we discuss esoteric topics, watch any interesting vids that have popped up on the web, so on and so on. Some days it doesn't work out very well. Nothing much happens. Other days it's really productive, and I always find it cool. It's almost like our going to church, except no church involved or religion, because we're both anti-dogma. Dogma is the big bad thing, really. Fixed ideas. Yeah, this is better. Again, this is the way I normally talk. I talk in very, I talk like a web, basically. I go from this node to that node, then I'll go back, da-da-da-da-da. Most of my friends are kind of used to it, though I think they still find it kind of annoying. But that's just the way my brain works, so, if I try to be linear, then I end up like my usual thing, just being, uh-huh, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty. So anyway, what is the scene again? Going back, the paranormal is like a web because who knows? Maybe because the universe itself is like a web. But it really is essentially science and conventional thinking try to slice everything up and make it very linear and put things into nice little neat boxes. And of course, that is very artificial and effectively it works in a very narrow way. But if you actually are trying to grasp the truth about anything, it's much more multi-layered and everything. And like my friend Chris was saying, it is more like a web in that you make this loose fabric that is connected in all these different ways, and there's always holes in it. And that's I think we were discussing actually that is one of the strengths of the occult side of methodology as opposed to the science side, is that again, theoretically, science takes this into account, but in practice, most people don't. But you're always aware with the occult, which just means the hidden, by the way. It doesn't mean you're a devil worshiper or anything like that. That's a common misconception. With things on the esoteric side, you're always, if you're doing it right, you're always aware that there's this vast unknown. And again, science pays lip service to that, or the culture of science, I should say, pays lip service to that. But they don't really believe it and they don't really act on it. It's like, you have scientific laws, and so on and so on, and a lot of misleading language, which frankly has a practical effect. In a way, it's one of the strengths of the esoteric and occult side of things. It's a strength and a weakness, basically. It's because things can never quite be settled. You have to be flexible. And you can't have dogma because dogma just literally doesn't work, which is why it's actually closer to reality, because in reality, everything is a special case. It's like they say, in theory and practice are the same. In practice, it's not. It's a bit like that. So I thought, as an initial easy sort of starting topic, well, not easy, but it's again, something most people are vaguely familiar with, because this is theoretically for the consumption of the general public. I thought I'd start with ghosts, because again, most people have horrendous misconceptions about what the hell a ghost is and how it works and blah 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 and all that. And I'm not saying I know the absolute truth. I just state, I'm not going to belabor this point every time I make a recording. But, I have to, when I state things, I'm just stating my own personal, I won't say beliefs, because again,